Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Los Angeles Lakers have some victories that are not so pretty, I guess is the word. A lot of rugged wins, with the exception of the Denver win. Pretty much most of the games surrounding that have been difficult or disappointing. You know, you talk about dating back to what? The Utah game, loss, Charlotte, loss, struggle with the Blazers, Denver, clean, Dallas, struggle, get the victory, Minnesota, struggle, get the victory. It's like, yo, we're not, yeah, we're on a 4-game winning streak. Yeah, we've won a lot out of a lot. This is good, you know, this is good, but when you look forward to playing more established and healthier teams, do you really think you're playing well enough right now to defeat those teams? You should consider Dallas was without AD, Lively, PJ playing hurt, Gafford out, obviously Luka over here. Dallas ain't the same. And you look at Minnesota last night, no Gobert, no Randall. Obviously, Edwards getting suspended. Naz Reid playing like half of Naz Reid. And you still struggle. It's just like, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, this is just not the most encouraging time for us to assess our team as winners. Yeah, we're winning, but we're struggling in all of these games. And that we're struggling in all these games makes me wonder. When it's time to play the Clippers tonight and they're a bit more healthy, got to play them again after this. Pelicans playing better. Zion's down there. You know, you're dealing with Trigger Murphy. Just more established basketball teams. Teams are in a healthier space than the teams you just saw. Teams that are better than the teams you just saw. How do you feel about that if you're a Laker fan trying to assess these games? Knowing that your struggles are in place against not so good teams. And you got tough teams to play. See, that's what comes to mind. You got tough teams to play. How are you going to handle those teams if you're continuing to struggle the way that you are? Our defense has been smooth, but our shot making is falling off. Now one of our best shot makers is not out there. Rui could potentially be missing some games, although he's a game time decision last I checked. I'm not sure if we're still waiting on MRI or not, to be honest with you, at this hour. So I'm still not really clear where he's at in his assessment of where he's at with his health. Bron kind of had something with the hammy. He's playing it, downplaying it, saying it's nothing. I'm not 100% sure where the truth is about that hamstring. Jackson Hayes fell on his hip yesterday. Didn't look like he was doing that great with it, but played through it. I saw Gabe Vincent hobbled a little bit at the end of that game. He didn't look 100%. So it's like, we're not that deep of a basketball club. We can't really afford too many injuries. I think it would be very wise for us to kind of take this particular game tonight and rest maybe several people, or pick some people out that we're going to rest in these Clipper games and play some this day and play the opposite ones the next. Although these are very important games, with this team being right behind us in the seedings, you're thinking about the long-term outlook of your team and the health expectations of what the team could provide themselves. You may be able to win these next 3 games, but if you start facing injury issues that you could have prevented, now what you end up finding out is that you're going to still lose games on the back end, and it's still the same struggle. You see what I'm saying? You didn't lose those games now, but you'll lose them 2 weeks from now. And so it still equates to the same thing. So I don't doubt that if guys can play, they probably are going to want to. Nobody really wants to rest this time of year, especially with us being so close to second place and yet still fairly close to falling out all entirely. Guys are going to see the urgency to kind of play through stuff. But at the end of the day, you got one 40-year-old superstar and the other one's recovering from injury with a reputation for not staying healthy, or not taking care of himself, rather. I just don't think we should be the ones toying around with their others as it pertains to their health. Our others, we really need to keep healthy. And so that's really what it is. I don't want Austin taking on too much while he's trying to, step up for our guys. He picks up some type of injury or something, God forbid. Dorian Finney-Smith, a very important piece in that same regard. We need to keep our guys healthy. That's really what it is. We're not the deepest team in the world, but we have found some continuity as it pertains to our defense. But in doing so, you find yourself playing more rugged ball. So, it's nothing easy about these circumstances the Lakers are dealing with right now. It's not. You got to try to balance out the urgency for every win in a tough Western Conference versus how to keep yourself healthy for the long run. And if every game is us playing through injury, every game is us fighting tooth and nail right now, what you're going to probably find out is you're going to end up wearing your guys down. So we need them to be available at the end regardless. So that's what comes to mind. I don't know that JJ wants to go deeper into his bench just in general, unless it's absolute supreme garbage time. Maybe he's probably right for that. But, Cam Reddish not being somebody he's using. Alex Len obviously not being someone he's using. We very, very sparingly use Shake Milton. Markieff Morris just kind of sitting there. Those are not players in rotation keeping us healthy, giving our guys breathers. We were leaning on certain people. So even though we don't have the same issues on the injury report as it pertains to all the guys who are not available, it still equates to us leaning on the same amount of bodies when you really look at it, if you consider how many people are not in rotation at all. So I think at the end of the day, what we got to try to figure out is how to make it so that we're not just leaning on the same 9-10 people every game. They get a little deeper into our bench. And I think a lot of that has to do with the decisions our front office makes with who uses those roster spots. Koloko should have been called up. Jordan Goodwin now needs to be turned into a regular rotation piece. You got to start shaving off the people that coach does not want to use so that you can find yourself able to use more players to keep guys healthy. That's a big decision that the Laker front office is going to have to be honest needs to be made. It's not smart to just move in a direction that doesn't allow for you to have more of your roster spots available to people that coach wants to use, and then you find yourself taking on these injuries and you're sitting around saying, well, how can we stay healthy? You stay healthy by keeping the players that he wants to use eating up more of the rotation spots, more of the roster spots than a bunch of people that he doesn't want to use. You waive people that he does not use so that he won't be inclined to sit healthy bodies even when it's necessary that other guys get some rest. So that is where I need us to make the tough decisions. Alex Len, we picked up. He's not being utilized. Waive him. Call up Koloko because our coach likes using Koloko a bit more. Call up Jemison because our coach likes using him a bit more. Shake Milton, he ain't being utilized. Waive him. Call up Jordan Goodwin, make sure he's in rotation. Call up Bronny James if you want to use him as a roster spot, since that's something that I think people want to do a lot of times. Maybe you don't want him on the playoff roster, cool, not him, fine. But you do something so that you don't have so many guys that are healthy that will never be used because coach does not want to use them. So I think that that's extremely important. You can't sit up here and say, well, we're just going to play guys who are not well and let them run into the ground. That's not the only option you have. Your better option is to make sure that the people that coach can turn to are people he actually would be willing to. And you save yourself a lot of trouble in a lot of different health areas. So that's my thing. I know it might be a strain to waive certain people. I really don't care. If I'm being honest with you. I tell Jeannie flat out, I don't care. If they carry over to next year, if it's not going to be too much of a problem in constructing future rosters, waive some of these dudes. Waive the ones we're not using and call up the ones that we really know we will use. That is your responsibility right now. I don't care about people's feelings. We trying to win a championship. That's it. I know Alex Lynn chose us over the Pacers, but we can't use him. So we can go to the Pacers now. That's how it has to be, man. We can't have people healthy on the bench while our guys are hurting, trying to play through injury. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And having people on our G League roster that actually fit our big time roster. Jordan Goodwin needs to be a regular rotation piece, man. Everybody who watches the Lakers regularly believes that at this point. Ain't no way Shake Milton or Markieff Morris should have roster spots and he doesn't. There's no way. No way. Not at this point. You know, Cam Reddish, if you're not going to turn him into something, waive that man. Waive him. If you're not going to utilize him at all, if you don't trust him to be at least a decent defensive player, waive him. Get him off the team and call up somebody that you know you're going to use. That's the most important thing for this roster right now. I'm sorry, I don't have any. And so that's really what I'm telling y'all, man. Is the Lakers want to do something for themselves. The most important thing they're going to figure out is how to make it so that JJ Redick feels more comfortable with more of that roster. So that's pretty much my thought on that. Am I worried about Luka's shooting? No. In fact, I'm very much encouraged that he's continuing to progress in the rebounding and the assist category. Not to mention that his defensive numbers have been pretty damn decent. The shooting is the least of the concerns. That's the least of the concerns. Because he is a natural born shooter who's been known to put up 30 and 40 and 70 points. I ain't worried about that. Is he able to find his teammates? Is he learning his teammates? You know, is he learning where he can help his team when the shot's not falling? And the answer is, yeah, man. He didn't shoot well at all, but he rebounded the ball like a great star last night. You know what I mean? Him and LeBron James combined for 30 boards. So, I mean, like, am I concerned about Luka the Dom? Nah. The two things I'm interested in seeing in regards to Luka right now. One, what I just said, him continuing to learn his teammates, understanding who he can find where and who he should probably not look to turn to in certain situations, trying to be a playmaker. And I think he's learning those things now. And the second thing is just continuing to walk out of each and every game as healthy as possible. Get out of these games without having any setbacks with your injuries. That's it. Be a bit more conservative with your willingness to play through injury. Because in Dallas, they asked him to play through injury all the time. They weren't really considering too much. They only had him as a superstar with respect to the other guys that are really great, like Kyrie Irving. But they only had one superstar, and they needed him in order to feel as good about their team as possible. That's not necessarily the dynamic he's in LA. And not only that, but him being healthy gives us insurance for LeBron, who's older. So it's going to be his responsibility, in my opinion, to take better care of himself, not only for the sake of his responsibilities, but for the overall help that provides LeBron James. So that when LeBron needs to take a back-to-back off, he can do so. If you hurt, he can't. And so that's kind of what it is. Your responsibilities are different. You taking care of yourself means something much more to this roster than it did to the Dallas Mavericks. Period. That's really what it is. It means more to us that you stay healthy than it did in Dallas, because they need you to carry more of the load. They need you to shoulder more of the responsibility, hit more big shots. We don't have those same demands on you. We have more demands upon you staying completely and utterly in shape and healthy. So that's really what it is. It's just shifting his mindset and his priorities toward the Laker agenda, so to speak. And how well he's adjusting to that is something that I'm interested in. You know, getting out of that Dallas mindset. Dallas had an entirely different set of things they were needed in order for them to be successful. And since this is the first time he's ever moved teams, that adjustment is something that the jury's out on how he's going to handle that. So that's really what it is. So far, I think he's been pretty good, though. I think he's been pretty good. And, we just got to figure out our offense. At this point, we understand that the ceiling of our offense is legendary. But right now, we're in that strange space where guys don't really know how to play with one another. And they ain't had a lot of practices to really kind of gel yet. And so as a result of that, they're kind of finding themselves, my turn, your turn. Yeah, I want the ball, but it ain't so imperative you get me the ball. You can just take it now. Like I said, there was a split second yesterday where Austin Reeves was, had the ball and he was asking, Luka was asking Austin for it. But when he realized Austin had a favorable matchup in front of him, he waved Austin off and told him to go for it. Like, those are the type of things that we need to just not have any delay on whatsoever. That split second is what, 2 seconds on the shot clock? It's little things like that guys are going to have to get a better feel for one another to know these things without having to really think too much. And then, of course, our rotations and how we put players on the floor one another to give them what they need and not have people on top of one another and stuff like that. So still a lot of learning to do, and we're in that weird space where we still don't quite get it. And some nights, one night, maybe, for example, against the Denver Nuggets, you got it. There's a lot of emphasis on that game. But against maybe the Minnesota Timberwolves, without the emphasis on the game plan, the improvisation isn't as seamless. We think about Anthony Davis and LeBron James understanding one another. They played with one another for 6 years? So they had built that chemistry. They built that understanding. They built that know-how as it pertains to where you want the ball, how you want the ball, when you need your rotations to change shifts and stuff like that with the coaching. All of that stuff is very much established over time, and that's time that we haven't really spent with one another as a team right now. And so that's really what it comes down to. I just wonder if the Los Angeles Lakers are going to require too much time to try to gain that type of chemistry with so little time left in the season and every game mattering so much. And then when you consider even more so that the expectations are pretty high for us to not only win big in the regular season, but we get it right in the playoffs, and our team is a little shallow. It's just a lot of things that have to do with, again, guys staying healthy and being available to their basketball team. So, that's why I think it's so crucial that we start waiving people that coach can't use. It's so crucial that we find ourselves with a unit full of people that Coach JJ feels comfortable utilizing in many situations. And so if a guy doesn't fit that bill, he has to be moved. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. He has to be moved. It's not harmless not having a full spectrum of players to utilize. So, yeah, man, that's what I'm thinking there. Just continuity between our three superstars. And I do think Austin Reeves, it's safe to put him in that category. He's not a superstar, but like for the way that our team is constructed, it is a trio of playmakers, fluid playmakers that should be able to be cerebral, hit shots, get to the line a bunch of times. You may not want to call Austin a superstar necessarily, but the volume should be divvied out in a way that allows him to get plenty of opportunities to be himself. You get the most out of him when you do that. You get the most out of your team when you do that. And I think that he's the one that's the most difficult to try to get going, because he's the third in the pecking order. You know what I mean? But at this point, and I ain't really sure of this, but he may be the best free throw shooter. I don't know how good Luka is as a free throw shooter. And based on what we've seen, he ain't that great. He's not great. You know what I mean? It's not like you expect him to go to the line and hit 90% on the season. He's not. He's more like a 77% guy. I think Austin might be a more talented free throw shooter than Luka Doncic. The jury's out on that. I haven't seen the numbers. I'm not familiar. I'm just going by what I'm seeing. It just looks like I feel a lot more confident with Austin going to the line 11 times than I do Luka going to the line 11 times right now. It just is what it is. So when I consider guys getting their calls, how good Austin is at doing that specific thing, I need Austin to get a nice dose of on-ball touches. And I think that the trio all are in unison, in agreement with that. Coach probably agrees with that. And I think that trying to do that has been part of the problem. I think that's actually been part of the problem. And so trying to get him going. I'm of the mindset that, Dalton Knecht not being playable is a real problem for us too. Him not being any good defensively from night to night is a problem. Him not having any confidence scoring the ball is a problem. I wonder if he needs more on-ball touches to be effective. He does appear to have some off-ball talent, but we're not looking for him enough to make that make any sense. Does he not need to get in rhythm early and then have that carry him throughout the course of a basketball game? Because we haven't really made him a priority, I really don't know what gets him going. That's the problem. I don't know that we've had opportunities to really find out what works for him, because in the process of trying to get him on the floor, he's just hemorrhaging points from his defender, from the person he's defending rather. So it's like while you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I get this guy going, the score goes the other direction. And given the fact that we're a pretty good defensive team right now, that's like a no-go. You just can't let it happen. So that's part of the problem, is not being able to get him going. We have so many guys that need the ball in their hands. He's really only best utilized as an off-ball player. But if he's an off-ball player without confidence, who needs 6 and 7 touches to get going, that opportunity is not going to be there. We need him to be more of a guy who can find his way on sparingly type opportunities to score. Every 8th possession, you may be able to get a touch. You got to be able to hit that shot. I don't think he's that kind of player, especially as a rookie. So it's like, do we even have the ability, with all of the different things our roster has going on, to get this guy going and get his confidence going? That's the question I have about Dalton Knecht. Do you not need him to be more of a important scorer than what you're capable of getting out of him in order to get the most out of your unit? That's the problem. I don't know if you can get the most out of that player. And because I have my questions about whether you can, I'm starting to think that it would have been great if that trade went through, so that we could have had Williams in place, which is an easier, seamless fit than this particular rookie who doesn't have confidence, who can't play defense. So he's not helping you on either side of the floor. You lose confidence in him, get him off the floor for your responsibility, and then as a result, he loses confidence even further, and it's become even less playable. It's just like a bottomless pit, yo. And so that's why, for me, I'm going to be honest with you. In situations like this, Dalton's going to play in the G League. That's where I'm sending him now. Because he can more than likely get his looks and his touches, more than likely get earlier opportunities to score the ball consistently, so he can string off 5 and 6 shots, so that confidence can come around. Maybe start to simulate opportunities for him to get those sparing looks a bit more consistently without it being such a problem for the unit and being defensively deficient. This is when you send a guy to the G League for specific reps and opportunities. I think that's the way to go right now. I definitely think that's the way to go. That's the solution that just came to mind. Because a lot of what we need in order to develop Dalton into being a more confident player comes from him having opportunities to be featured in the offense, to have reps down there. And those are not coming on this roster, and he's just losing more confidence in him. He's losing more confidence in himself, and he's becoming more unplayable, as I already said. So send Dalton to the G League, please. Send him to the G League, and don't think twice about it, because it's what's best for him to get his reps right now. It's what's best for him to learn, for us to learn what type of player he is and how to get him going. and we don't have to utilize precious, real, big team opportunities that need to be utilized because they're a bit more precious than we can experiment with. You know, we can't waste possessions trying to figure this guy out. We need to send him to the G League and let him get those possessions down there. He'll probably go for 40 points down there, 50 points down there. Him and Bronny James are going to be superstars down there. And he'll get his confidence and start to be more available to us maybe 10, 12 games from now at a higher level with more confidence. So that's the solution. That is the exact solution. Salute to Kobe Minute. Send Dalton Knecht to the G League right now. Send him there now. Get him down there. Have him play down there for a little bit. I don't care about his initial frustration with that. That's not nearly as important as him getting his reps. You understand? He may look at that as a demotion, it's an embarrassment, this and that, but his confidence is in the toilet with the big team. So the idea is to get him more reps. The idea is to get him on the floor more. And as you find yourself doing that, he may be a little upset about being in the G League, but he's going to be on the floor a lot. He's going to have 25-point games, 30-point games. He's going to hit a bunch of threes. He's going to feel like himself. He's going to cook the G League. And then his confidence to get where it needs to go. And so that is exactly what needs to happen. I'm sending Dalton to the G League, and I think that not doing that is probably neglecting the actual solution to the situation there. That is exactly what it is. Because JJ don't believe in him. He ain't playing him nothing but 11 minutes a game. He ain't getting up but like 2 shots a game. That's not what we should be doing with our first pick. No, hell no. That's not how we need to be utilizing him. And if we're gonna have him be the player we want him to be next season, then what it is that we're doing here and sending him to the G League is just as important. Send him. That's a very good decision in my opinion. You send him now. You know, get him down there. Have him running with Quincy and them dudes. And Bronny. That is a good decision right now. Because I think a lot of times you do stuff like that and you're like, man, what's it going to do to his confidence? Man, his confidence is shot. So whatever it's going to do, it can't be no worse than what's already been done. He's shot. That's the point. So I'm hoping that sending him to the G League will instill in him not only more confidence, but just reps, bro. That's it. Shots and shots and shots and shots. Let him hoist 18 shots down there on the game. And so that's what I think. That's exactly what I think. So yeah, hopefully this gets to the right people, man, because I do believe that will be a very strong solution for his struggles. And I know he's not on a G League contract, but neither is Bronny. Send him down there. So yeah, that's what I got. You know, our G League team got some pretty good stuff down there, man. You consider Quincy Olivari, you consider Bronny James. Those are 2 guys that I expect to be on our regular rotation 2-3 years from now. They should be regular players for us. They should be, in theory, replacing Gabe Vincent and whoever, you know. That's what should be happening. And if we're developing these players like I think we will, they're going to be good players. So I wouldn't let either one of them leave your organization. Bronny or Quincy. They should both be a part of our future unit, especially with what they're showing down there in the G League. I think they're going to develop just fine at this point. I feel very confident about both of those players. And so, yeah, man, that's my thought. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I am. The weather is amazing in Los Angeles today. Our team is on a 5-game homestand from here, if I'm not mistaken. We ain't got to go to Boston until next Saturday, the one after tomorrow. So our team should be able to get some real practice in. And I say, hopefully by that point, a lot of the things that we're struggling with, we will have worked out. This homestand should really help with that. Although these are playoff teams we're seeing. Clippers twice, New York, Zion's 100%, so that changes the dynamic of the Pelicans. You know, this ain't minor. We got some real players that we're going to be seeing over the next several weeks. And it should be a decent test for us before we go out on the road and have to play the defending champs. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say, man. Everybody, thank you for watching BDF 44.